Hi, so in today's video I want to show you how I created a cutting file for the ScanNCut to make this arrowhead card. Now these seem to be quite popular at the moment, they're popping up all over Pinterest and YouTube, and the lovely Donna over at Taffy Crafting created a video recently showing how to make one of these by hand. So I thought I'd show how to make one but in a different size for the ScanNCut. This file was actually a free file that I gave to my patrons on my Patreon page recently, but I thought I'd show how you could actually make your own. And obviously I've added some matting layers. Okay, sorry about the light, the sun is coming in and out here and I can't do anything about it. So the basic principles to put your fold lines in are you work out whatever size card you're going to use. So this would be a top folding card. So you find the middle of the width at the bottom and you make a little mark. And then you make a score line from that mark to your fold line on the left and the right of your card. Then what you need to do, you need to find the middle of its length. And again, you put another little mark. And what you do is you put another fold line in from the middle bottom where you marked to that point there and then to that point there. So you only have 4 score lines. You have one coming from the middle to the top to the fold on either side and one coming from the middle to the middle of the height of your card. And that's basically what I've done here. So they're the principles of it, and now I'm just going to show you how I made this cutting file in ScanNCut Canvas. Okay, so I'm in ScanNCut Canvas, and just for clarification, I'm using the downloadable version, but this can be done in ScanNCut Canvas online as well. So for my card, I want my card to be a 5 by 5 finished size. So the first thing I'm going to do is select a square. I'm going to come over to the edit icon, which is the second icon down. I'm going to untick maintain aspect ratio. In the width, I'm going to make that 5, and in the height, I'm going to make that 10, so that when this card is folded in half, I will have a 5 by 5 card. The next thing I'm going to do is come over here to the path icon and select that, and I'm going to left click, hold my shift key down on my keyboard, but I'm not pressing anything at all on my mouse. I'm just going to drag my mouse out and double click then to anchor it. With that selected, I'm going to make it 5 inches wide. This is going to become the fold line of my card. So while it's still selected, I'm going to come up to the line icon here and I'm going to choose a dash line. And when I click anywhere off the page, you should now see I've got a dash line. I'm going to select both of these 2 items and I'm going to come down here now, still on the editing icon, and I'm going to align them centrally and align them vertically. So that is now my base card with a dash fold line, and this will be the front of my card. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to give myself a guideline. So I'm going to draw another path line. So I'm going to select the path icon. I'm going to left click on my mouse once and let go. Then I'm going to press the shift key down on my keyboard. And then without pressing anything on the mouse, I'm just going to drag it down in a straight line and double click now to anchor it. Again, while it's selected, I'm going to come over here to height and I'm going to make it 10 inches. This is only a guide, so I don't need to do anything with it, but what I might do is make it red to make it more visible. So I'm coming up here to the line colour, and this opens up my colour palette, and I'm just going to choose red. And I may just make it a little bit thicker, just so it's a bit easier to see. So now again, I'm going to select everything. So that's all 3 items, and I'm going to go align centre and align middle. And that's just give me a guideline for when I now want to put my first set of dashed lines in. So I'm just going to select everything and right click and group. So they're all grouped together for now. And then just to make it a little bit easier, I'm going to position it all now on the 0, 0 axis on X and Y. So it just fits in the top corner. Sometimes I find it's a little bit easier, and I'm going to zoom in to 60%. So what I want to do now is put a dashed line in from this bottom point up to our fold line here. So again, I'm going to choose the path icon. I'm going to come down here, and when I start to bring my mouse over where there's a little circle on the end of the arrow, as I get to the bottom of the red line, you'll see a very faint box appear. So I'm going to left click once, drag out until I get a box up here where the dash line meets the edge of my card. And then as soon as I see that box, I'm going to double click to anchor it. Now I'm going to make that a dash line. And then I'm going to do the same. Now you could do this a couple of ways. You could duplicate this and then flip it and scoot it along. But I prefer to actually draw the path line in. So I'm going to come back to the path line. I'm going to come down to the bottom again until I see that little bluey grey box appear. When I get to the bottom of that red line, I'm going to left click, drag it out and double click. And again, I'm going to make it a dash line. So now I'm just going to zoom back out a little bit. I'm going to select the main design, right click and ungroup, and I'm going to get rid of the red straight line. And then I'm going to come to my layers panel to do that. And I can see it here in red. If I click on it, it selects it. So I can now delete it. Okay. So the next thing I want to do, I just want to group this all again. So select everything. And you can either come down to the icon in the bottom, which is like a square and a circle and a triangle, and group, or you can right click and group. Now, what I want to do now, I want to draw another path line as a guideline. So I'm going to select the path line. I'm going to click once on there on a blank space on my mat and let go, then press my shift key down and just drag out a straight line and double click to anchor it. I'm going to come back to the edit icon, which is the second one down, and under width I'm going to make it 5 because my card is a 5x5 card. Again, I think I'm going to make it red just so it's easier to see, and I'm going to make it 3 points so it's a bit thicker in size. Now this time I want to position this if this card is 10 inches, this is 5, so this is the front half of my card. I want to position this red line at 7.5. So I'm going to select it. With the X coordinate, I'm going to say 0, so that scoots it over to here. And on the Y, I'm going to say 7.5. And now that red line is exactly where I need it to be. So again, I'm just going to group everything just to make it a little bit easier, because sometimes if you zoom in to work, things start to move. And it's easier if everything's grouped. So I've zoomed into about 70% now, just so you can see it a bit better. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to draw another dash line from this point here at the bottom to this red line, and I'm going to do that on the right hand side and on the left hand side. So again, I'm going to choose the path icon. I'm going to come down here to the bottom, and as I get to where this V meets at the bottom here, I can see a very faint blue grey box. I'm going to left click once and just drag my mouse out and drag it to the corner of this red line, and again you'll see a box, and I'm going to double click to anchor it. And while it's selected, again, I'm going to make it a dash line. And then we've got one more and we're virtually finished. So click the path icon, come back down here, left click, drag it out to the red line, double click to anchor it, and that selects it at the same time, and then choose the dash line. So now I'm going to select the main part of the card. I'll just zoom out a little bit. I'm going to right click and ungroup, I'm going to come back to the layers panel. I'm going to choose that red line because I don't need it. I'm going to hit delete on my keyboard. So now I've got my base card with my fold line in and my 2 lots of dash lines that create the arrowhead. And that is now my card. So in the downloadable version of Canvas, there are a few ways of saving things. So if I just shrink the mat down a little bit, I'll show you what I mean. I go right to the top of the page where it says File. I can export the FCM file, and I can do that by putting a USB stick into my machine and exporting this as an FCM file directly to a USB. So if you don't have the wireless transfer, that's how you would get this file from here to your machine. I can transfer it wirelessly, which is how I would do it, or I can save this as a working file, so a Canvas Workspace file, and I can save it on my computer. And then if I want to come back and alter it, I've always got a working file. And to do that, you would choose Save. You can give it a title here, so I'm just going to call it Arrowhead Card, and I'm going to put it on my desktop so I know where it is, and click Save, and I'll drag the file in so you can see it. So here is my Arrowhead Card.cwprj, which is a Canvas Workspace project file, and you can keep that in a folder on your computer, and then you can bring that back up, open it up in the online program, and you can adjust it or do whatever you want with it. Obviously you can resize this as you want, and the principles are the same. You can make the card size any size you want, but basically your first set of big fold lines always need to be from the middle of the bottom of your card up to where your card folds, and then your second set of fold lines need to be from the middle of the card and to the position halfway of the bottom of your card. So I hope you found that helpful. Please give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure you click the bell notification icon, and then YouTube will notify you whenever I upload a video, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you.